and this is a special episode.
I told you you were special.
What was this? Mike, and with a mic? Is that what
With
we
two
were
mics.
referring to this
There's
as?
literally 5 mics going on here.
At Himley Hall, huh, guys? You guys got me up early. It's 5:30 a.m. here in California, but I was assured this is going to be a very special episode. So, welcome
Well,
both mics.
this is just note. This is the first sunny day in 2 weeks since I've been here. So I went down to the Riviera run. It didn't pour, but it was just the UK overcast stuff. Yesterday it was nasty, and today we pulled out the stops, and it's gorgeous here at Himley Hall.
This is awesome. This is so cool. So everyone's gonna get the environment. You got a little you got all the minis in the back. I think yeah, I mean again, everyone that has watched this show, I know Mike Price, you're probably new to it. I don't know if other Mike gave you any rundown, but everyone always tries to have their mini in the background, a cool little setup for the video portion, and I think you guys are topping the cake right now for sure. So it'll be hard
That's
for
what I
someone
told
to beat
Mike.
this
I said
background.
after this, we've won.
I mean, I think in the podcast world, once you hit 21 episodes, which this will be 21, I think that's like a big record. So I think I'm just gonna call it quits at 21 at this. Like I can't do any better.
Yeah, quit while you can.
Yeah.
Quit while you're ahead.
So,
Yeah, quit while they're ahead. Awesome,
so even
hey,
the lighting
guys.
was right.
I
The
really
last
appreciate
week the
this.
lighting was horrible. So now we even got the sun at the right time. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
looks beautiful out there.
I'm just here as a translator because he's very difficult to understand. So I'm really just sort of the side guy. It's all about Mike today.
Yeah, well, where I live,
Where I live,
yeah, is the accents and the what do you call them in America? You know, your different areas in America, the different accents for different parts. And in England, in the Midlands, is particularly varied. So you get people in one part of the town doesn't understand the other people in the other part of the town. So my accent is what they call black country. So we sort of cut words off or don't use the first letter. So it does become a little bit different when foreign people like Mike.
I'm a foreign object.
Foreign object. Yeah. So we'll do our best.
I mean, I think that's kind of like America too. There's parts of the country that we don't understand them either. So
Yeah.
Well, no. Keep in mind, they speak the same language. We understand them, but we don't understand them. Carry on.
yeah, absolutely. Well, we've heard from Mike Guido. Everyone loved that episode, by the way. They're still listening to it and still saying how great it is.
Good.
So, it's good. It's good to have you back on. But the star of the show today is the other Mike. So Mike Price.
Uh-huh.
The people want to know this podcast. I'm not sure how much you know about it. I like to dig into the history of why you got into minis. So the first question is usually like, what attracted you to the minis? Whenever it was, how long ago it was, what was kind of that first memory of the mini that kind of got you to where you are today on this interview?
Well, the first one was roughly 1962. We had an old Austin A30, which is a little bubble car, small car, and we traded up to a Mini, which was then
Those are awesome.
traded up to like a 3-year-old car as opposed to a 23-year-old car. And it really went from then. It was we enjoyed it. Me and my wife used to go everywhere in it. We brought up 2 children driving it. That was our day car. So when Elliot is my son, he became another Mini driver, and it was a case of, Dad, can you do this? Dad, can you do that? Dad, it's failed the MOT. We then started to look into the possibility of just repairing Minis as opposed to just repairing any car. We used to repair sort of Bentleys and Rolls Royces, E-type Jags, and then you went down to the range of like uh, A35s, Oxford, Morris Oxford, and we gradually thought about buying parts. We'd got to go all over the place to buy a part for a Ford or for a Vauxhall or for a anything that came up. So we decided just to concentrate on the Mini.
And what time period was this? What you said
This is
you're the
ranging
first
from
A30 that you.
oh, 1965.
And were you were a mechanic or
Yeah, well, no, I was a design draftsman originally. As an
okay,
apprentice, I was an engineering design draftsman, and I got fed up of
gotcha.
sitting at a desk, drawing where everybody else was off, and I decided just to work for myself, self-employed, repairing cars, and then when we got fed up of repairing anybody and everybody's because of the hassle you get, um,
Right.
we went on to just doing minis. That was it. We'll just do repair, and we got involved with a few clubs and got their cars and we repaired them, and it just went from there. We opened a spare shop in about 1986, I think. Mini World, that was our shop. Before Mini World magazine was on the scene. Um, and we just went from there. Now we restore classic minis. We manufacture parts for minis, apart from just coming to shows and enjoying it. We've travelled all over the world, me and my wife, to different mini shows.
Wow. What was it about the Mini you named off, all of these iconic cars, Bentleys and all these
Uh,
other cars? What was it about the Mini that was like, "Hey, I want to focus on this only?" Was it the customers of the other cars or was it something
well,
special about the
absolutely,
Mini that
yeah.
you liked?
Yeah. The retail trade in England is great if you hadn't got customers. So of course the Mini was cheap. It was cheap to buy. I mean, we could buy a running car, £30, and what's that in dollars? Yeah,
40.
$45. You could get a
30
car.
pounds.
You could
Wow.
get now they're £30,000, I know,
Right.
but
Yeah, right.
back in the day, if you got a scrapyard, you could buy 30 quid, put it on the road, use it for a year, and then just put it back in the scrap. Uh, they was cheap to
Wow.
run. Fuel was very, very cheap. They were small, so you could go anywhere.
Yeah, their
Really,
roads are very tiny, and they still are.
yeah. But that was the basic idea.
The-
Yeah, basic idea was cheapness, cheap fuel, go anywhere, and people smile when they see you now. I mean, now when you drive a Mini now, everybody's waving to you or smiling, and they go, "I had one of them."
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere I go,
Yeah, it's
someone
great.
walks up to me and says, "That was my first car." It's amazing
Yeah,
Yeah.
how many people have owned a Mini.
yeah. It's
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, even here, and your story too, Mike. It's everyone has a story about my aunt had one or my uncle or blah 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 blah. It's crazy. There's it kind of connects everybody to the
yes.
Mini. How was it? You know, back in you said 1965. That was shortly after the Mini kind of came out, several years after. But how popular was it actually back then? Was it as popular as they kind of make it seem, or
No,
was it something that was kind of like ramping up, or because that
no,
was
no.
kind of the time where they started, you know, they were starting to make the Coopers and kind of hot rodding
Yeah,
them a little bit, or what?
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was just an ordinary day car. It was a car that was designed
Yeah,
for the housewife to go to do the shopping in, the
right,
go to school in, and things like that. But they was quite expensive then compared. So then when it sort of started racing cars and Paddy Hopkirk and Monte Carlo Rally and that sort of thing, then it became an icon. So everybody sort of wanted one. Everybody wanted to be Paddy Hopkirk, racing around the track and things like that. So that's when it boomed in
right.
what 1970s, something like that. I
I
want
don't
to,
know. I was still a
I want
child.
thought the 60s was just again with Mary Quant and all the famous film stars who were, George Harrison, Paul McCartney,
Right.
uh, everybody, all
Yeah.
the film stars wanted one so they could be seen to be driving. I mean, and then of course,
Right.
as it got more popular and more people wanted them, the price increased then, so that they became
Mm.
sort of out of the range of the average person in the street. They all had to go to like Ford KAs and Fiestas and things like that. So now they're really
Yeah.
out of reach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's prices nowadays for sure are definitely still going up. It's
Yeah,
getting harder and harder to
It's hard
acquire
for
when it's
yeah for a
such
young
a
guy to
fun.
get into it. It's pretty impossible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the
That's the one
majority of the
thing,
cars
I
are
do.
gone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I kind of help people with all the time. People email me or message me and like, "Hey, how much do I need or what car should I look for?" And it's, it's tough, that you kind of got to get a project to save some
Yeah,
money, but if you're not mechanically inclined or you end up spending more than just buying a brand or not brand new one, but you know what I mean, a nice example of one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the prices are like in the UK, but here in the US and Southern California, man, they're trying to sell these cars for 20, 30, $40,000, and it's like a, late model Rover. It's not like a Mark 1, 2 or 3, something like that. So it's
right.
it's tough.
Well, yeah, it's the same. The equivalent in England is the same. I mean, the last one I think,
Yeah.
but it was a works rally car or a works rally car, inverted commas. 145,000 US English pounds that would be.
Whoa.
That's big money.
Wow. Yeah. That's big money.
Yeah,
But it's a works rally car, so
but it's got history. It's
no,
got
that's
history.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got the little
yeah,
tag
yeah,
on it.
that's crazy.
yeah.
It's got the little it's
It's
got the
got the
little
Yeah,
tag.
yeah.
air in the tyres.
Yes.
This is a rally car. The rest of it's fake.
Uh, My yeah, right. Mike Guido, you might remember this one. I think it just because it's kind of a quirky one, but what's that like kind of the beach mini with the wicker seats? I saw one of
Oh
those
yeah,
sell
the
for
beach
like
car.
200,000 or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, on the
Yeah, yeah, those are
website
crazy.
in the U.S. Yeah. Well,
Mm.
and also on
I've
that
seen it.
same
Yeah, bring a
website,
trailer, so.
yeah, there was a 73 automatic on there. And that is like the least desirable Mini of
Mhm.
all Minis. And it was in really good condition. And these two, I assume they're rich guys, got in a bidding war for the last half hour and then it just kept going. And it started at 13.5, which was to me about max just because the body was in great shape.
Yeah.
It went on until it went for $50,000. So some rich guy's wife wanted an automatic
Whoa.
and wanted a Mini, and here, dear. So Ronnie's not getting one of
Wow.
those.
Well, if I would have yeah, if I
Yeah,
would have
look
known
him
that,
up on
I
Bring a
know a
Trailer.
couple guys yeah, I know a couple of guys here that would have sold it for 40,000. I'm gonna start
Can you
telling them
imagine
to
being
pitch
the
it on Bring
owner?
a Trailer and
Right.
oh,
Imagine
and they
being
find
the
out
auction.
that it's not worth
Oh, just
50,000.
watching it, cha-ching, cha-ching. So, uh,
Yikes! Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's the prices nowadays are going insane. But I want to jump back. You mentioned Mini World.
Right.
So it currently is still a spare shop and a magazine. It's the same thing, or am I
No, no,
confusing the two?
no, no. Mini World magazine is a totally different
Totally different.
entity. Yeah, that nothing to do with me at all.
time for a
We,
plug. I'm writing a
Okay.
story on Himley Hall for Mini World magazine, so you'll get to see all the pictures of what you can't see now. Go ahead, Mike.
no, when we it was just one of the things where, well, we're going to open a shop. We're going to sell spares for minis. What do we call it? And I think my daughter came up with Mini World. Yeah, that's fine. There was nobody
Yeah.
else got Mini World. We hadn't got to worry about licenses or things like that. And she went into
Right.
the town. I mean, we only live in a small town. And she come back with a magazine, Mini World magazine, number one. I went, Dad, somebody, and I went, because we would have had a lot of contests between. We wanted to use Mini World, but we'd have had sort of a lawyer coming to us say you can't use that and all. But I
Right.
found Mini World and I said, look, do you realise that there's a company called Mini World and it's mine, and we've been going since I think about 1982, something like that. And they went, oh, oh, and the chief exec there said, well, if you don't sue us, we won't sue you, and we'll just live together. And that, and from then on, it was like,
Oh,
oh, I mean, I get on well with, well, I've known most of the editors, and they come down to me and come down to the shop, and things like that. We've always had a good relationship with Mini World magazine, I must admit.
Because they are the best mini
oh,
magazine
perfect.
in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Randy keeps saying,
Huh?
you should say Mini World
Listen,
What
Restoration.
rest? What are you?
Mini World Restoration.
Restoration?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Although I don't really want any more work.
mini
Put it
world.
that
I was
way.
gonna say. Uh, so mini world. So you're still taking customer cars then, huh?
Oh yes, yes, we still do. Although I'm sort of
Let the people know
78.
where do you have a. What's the website? Do you have a
No, we
website?
don't. We don't even have a website.
It's word of mouth nowadays, huh?
Yeah, I've been in the mini trade for I don't know, nearly 50 years, and people
Yeah.
know what I do. They know that I can do it or I can leave it. A bit like Mike. If I was to say, well, I want to go 7 weeks into a holiday, then I can do it at my age. And I ain't got to
Yeah.
worry about customers ringing and saying, when's my car going to be ready?
Wait, please note, I'm doing it, but I'm not his age. Go ahead.
You're getting there. Um, but yeah, yeah. If you have customers come and say, I want to restore this, I'll say, well, yeah, I'll restore it, but it's restored in between what I do other other than just restoring a car. I don't go to work just to restore a car. I got to work to enjoy myself.
Yeah. Hey, you can't ask for much more of that.
Exactly.
I
Right.
like that. Some
Being
some
here in the
so
Yeah,
sunshine, I'll be working tonight because I
yeah,
still have
yeah.
to work. But during the day over here, this is just amazing with people like
Yeah,
Mike.
it looks beautiful out.
Oh, it is. It is really nice. What you can't see is a lake in front of us with the breeze coming off the lake and all the ducks and things like that. But yeah, it is a nice venue.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wore flip
Yeah,
flops
what
this morning for the first time in 2 weeks.
Oh, really? I was going to say, isn't that your
I had to put
normal
shoes
attire?
on. Yeah, I had to put shoes on because it was all boggy, wet. It's been raining, so I had
I
to put
get you.
regular
I
shoes
get
on.
you.
But, and
Yeah, one of
I
my
wore a
bucket
special
list.
shirt for the coronation.
Right.
So we watched it on TV yesterday. So it's kind
Yeah.
of cool to be in England and watch it. It turns out my invitation was going that way when I was coming this way,
Yeah.
so I had to watch it on TV. That's
Someone
kind of
asked me yesterday. I said I was going to do this podcast with you guys over in England, and they're like, "Oh, ask them about the coronation." I was like, "I don't know if they really care. I'm
Yeah.
not sure." Like,
Yeah. We watched it. Well, we sort of half watched it.
it's a
yeah.
because we're running around trying to get all this stuff to
All
work.
the
Yeah, I'm curious of if it's a big thing for Americans to watch versus the people that actually live in the country, but I'm not sure. I saw a bunch of coverage on it too,
Well, they
so
really
there's
get
my
into it over here. They've got the bunting, the flags. Everything
yeah.
is huge over here. There's a lot of
street. There'll be street parties tomorrow.
I
They
guess
close the complete
Oh,
street and they put the tables in the middle and they have a not
yeah.
me,
When
not
they had
close.
oh
when they
wow.
had the Jubilee last year, I was here, and it was so cool to go through all the little towns and villages because every one of them was decorated, and I wasn't able
Wow.
to stay long enough for the actual day, but just seeing it all getting ready, it's really cool. I mean, they really have. They've been around for how many thousand years or something?
1066.
1066. Okay, I'll let you
Wow.
do the math. And yeah, it's just really awesome. And and like the other day, I was at like a little hippie shop uh, down near the Riviera Run, and I'm chatting with the guy, and his shop, the building is older than the United States. It's where they used to hang up nets, and he was explaining why the shop is so long. They'd use 8-year-old kids to come and hang the nets after they were washed. it's just really cool over here. There's so much history. So that's
A
why I'm
lot
here.
of history. I haven't
Yeah.
been in a really long time, and it's one of my bucket lists to get back over there for Himley Hall, or I've heard Bingley's cool, London to Brighton. I want to do one of these mini shows or runs or something. It's
Well, then you
I've
need to do
always
the IMM.
been,
Yeah, you need to do an IMM.
yeah,
IMM is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to do one.
yeah.
These are nice. It's beautiful
Well,
to see everybody's car, but an IMM is literally a party of about 3,000 classic minis, give or take, depends what country's holding it.
was
I think,
IMM always? I was gonna say it's always in a different country, right?
Yeah, it started in Germany, way back. I think
Oh,
40 odd years ago, uh, and it was
okay,
localized to the German clubs. You know, like Strasbourg, Hamburg, Berlin, and then it went into Switzerland for a couple of meetings, and then it went into Austria for two or three meetings, and then it sort of began to go wider and wider, and eventually, I think the first one in England was in Silverstone, and then every
okay,
5 years it's in the UK. So that
okay.
every like this year it's in
yeah,
go on
Italy.
in
well, yeah,
Italy,
this year's Italy. Next,
then next year it's in Germany, and then next year is the fifth year, or should be the fifth year. A little bit of congestion there
Germany was
because
supposed to be a fifth year.
yes, Germany was, but because of the COVID,
Yeah.
then we've sort of
Ah,
relented and saying, well, yeah, we'll let Germany do their effort, and then it comes back to the UK in the next year, and then it's
okay.
in another country which to be decided at the international mini meeting in it's Italy, because what happens is the
Yeah.
format is any club can do an IMM, but they must be at an IMM meeting, president's meeting, where you get the presidents of all the clubs meet. They discuss what's going on, what's going to go on, when it's going to be, and then you have to put
Mm-hmm.
a request forward with saying we're going to do this. It's going to be here. It's going to be when.
How much is the beer is always a question
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
president's
And
meeting.
then it's there's a vote of hands. If two or three clubs put their requests in to hold it, then there's a show of hands, and that's where it goes. No arguments. That's where it goes.
Okay. Sounds
Um,
simple enough.
it's as simple as that. But when it's in the UK, it's got to be in the UK every fifth year, which usually is the anniversary.
So
Like
it's
the 50th, the 55, the 60.
yeah, so it
Then
ends
we're
in
all in the UK.
fours or nines.
Yeah. So of course, with the COVID, then it's upset because events was cancelled.
It went Germany, Italy, Germany,
Germany,
now
Italy.
back to
Yeah.
Italy or something now,
Yeah.
and that's why
So of
Germany
course it's
gets it.
caused congestion now because we couldn't vote where it was going to be held in 2 years' time because they cancelled, and then you've got to
Oh.
the next year is going to be the fifth one. So it's going to be an interesting president's meeting in Italy, I think.
But an IMM, if you can only do one trip over, that's what you have to do it for. It really doesn't matter what country it is. Pick your
Mm.
favorite country to see where it's going to be. The parties at night are it's neat because when I went to my first IMM, it was a Mini 50 that this guy was a big part of putting it on. It was his club that hosted it in Birmingham, and I went. It was my first time in England, first time
Wow.
IMM, and I went to see all the cars. But within about halfway through the first day, it's like, look at all the people. The people were amazing
Yeah.
for the England one. People literally come from all over the world. A
Yeah.
lot do for the other ones, but England is the event.
We
And how many countries?
we had 78 countries represented, and
And
we had a flag literally for everyone.
and everybody hugs everybody. You leave there thinking that if everybody in the world owned a classic Mini, there would be no war,
That's right.
other than my car's not running. That
Yeah.
war would be
Yeah.
happening. But
But
Yeah.
that
It always
event,
seems like that.
yeah, well, that event took us 5 years to plan.
it was
Wow.
huge.
Well, it's the biggest one that's ever been. It's the biggest mini event that's ever been held anywhere in the world. And it was
Wow.
held at Longbridge, where the car was built. It was built on in the
Whoa.
factory.
Cool.
Yeah, but
That's super cool. Do they? So was the new Mini production still being done in that factory, or is there an old Long Bridge?
Did he say
He's,
something?
you swear?
Yeah.
I'm
Next
not supposed to
question.
say that.
No, no. It was 2009. Ours was 2009, and the BMW wasn't produced
Yeah.
till 2000, 2001. So we didn't have the inconvenience of having to sort of accommodate that car as well.
Listen, in the United States, that's all people know is that Mini. It's funny. Mike, do you get this when you're driving your classic around and you pass like a new Mini and you expect them to kind of like ooh and ah over it and they just like have no idea and they
They have
just like
no
kind of
idea.
keep
They have
going?
no idea.
Now, when it first
No.
came
No
out,
idea. It's
the
so
whole
funny.
thing was this is a life changing thing for me. I'm going to have one BMW Mini for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
And then 2 years later, they bought a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and over here, I'd say about one out of every 10 cars on the motorway is a
It's a
BMW.
BMW. Oh, yeah.
And it's,
Well, that's why it was produced, because they knew they couldn't sell any new old minis into the US because they couldn't get them in the safety
Yeah.
factor, because a mini has a smack and
Yep.
you've gone. There's bits fly off it.
Yep.
Like what, and you kill off the people around you. So I was involved with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
BMW right from the start in Munich. We had to go over there, and they're talking to us about it. And I said, well, the most people who don't want your BMW is German people. They produced it in Germany. Yet but
Yeah.
it's integrated now. It's there, and it ain't gonna go away. So
Yeah.
at the IMM, there was a vote at the IMM President's meeting again. Do we let the BMW come in or do we not? And the vote was yes. So it was in.
Oh.
So that was it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have a new Mini. It's my daily driver. It's a
where's
fine
the
car.
off?
It's not. It's wait. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. I what I was going to say is when
Ah,
I turned 16, my parents weren't like, "Hey, in Texas, let me get my 16-year-old, 15-year-old son a classic Mini tin can to drive around with all these trucks." So, it's I think it's everyone that gets the new Mini really wants the classic Mini, but it's whatever they can afford or safety or something like
yeah.
that. But we all know which one's better. It's no comparison. End of
It's a
story. Moving
different
on.
car. I mean, like for example, the other
It's
day
a different car.
I was at Tesco, whatever, and to get gas, petrol, and I pull the key out, and the plastic part comes off the key, and it's like that's what a mini is. So I pulled the other piece out, and I opened up the boot, and I had to take scissors and drill the hole through the plastic so I could put a zip tie to fix my key. A couple days earlier, I got in the car and I hit my immobilizer and turned the key to find out that the battery's dead in the immobilizer. So now the alarm is on and I'm sitting in the car. And it's like if I open the door and I was in Patium, a nice quiet town, the sirens are going to go off. So I rolled down the passenger window and climbed out. That's what a mini is. You never know what's going to happen.
Yes.
In fact, just driving this from up
That's a
there to
great.
here, it won't idle. And Mike looks at me. I'm like, I just got to get home tomorrow. Home being up at Minisport, and then they can work on it for a week before I head for Italy. So you never know. That's
Oh
the
man.
enjoyment.
Well, yeah,
I
it
won't
is.
say enjoyment. It's the you never know what's
Hassle.
going to happen.
The
Yeah,
hassle.
yeah.
It's the experience. It's the
It
experience.
is,
Yeah.
and you have to laugh. So when I broke the key off, it's like, oh come on. So
Yeah.
good times, right, Mike?
I've said it so many times on the podcast. I've done a road trip in my Mini and like stopping at a gas station, getting back in the car and the car won't start and I'm like, "What's going on?" and tinkering, clean a couple of grounds and it fires up and you're just like, "Woo, let's it's just like the experience of it." And but
So I
I
don't know
want to
if you
jump
knew,
to
but
Mike.
go ahead.
Oh, go. No, no,
Go
go.
ahead. Go. Well, I was gonna say I don't know if you knew, but Mike on the in the Mini 60, so 2019, he graced us with his presence at our CMU Mini
Yeah.
60 event. So Is that your second time over?
No, it was the
The
first
first
time.
time.
It was literally the first time I've been in a plane. Never mind flying to the US.
So
Whoa.
we
Okay.
got to show them
And this
the
was in
CMU
Virginia.
mountain
Yeah.
road.
Yes,
Yeah, it was in Withville,
Awesome.
and uh, so I found him in the hotel. Thought he was lost. Found him, and so he rode in the turbo with me. And there's a place called the Snake. Uh, it's better than the Dragon because, well,
you get killed easier.
there's no lines, there's uh, no law enforcement,
It's more dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
and it
He's going
was
to tell you a story now where I was crapping myself through his bad driving.
that's why. Oh, come on. That's why I've got vinyl seats in my class in my Turbo Mini because I don't trust the passenger. So I was having brake problems. They were fading pretty quick, and we've got
Oh, jeez.
a spirited group, a touring group, and now we have created kind of a super spirited group.
Faster, faster.
So about five of us uh, left before everybody else after lunch, and we were. I, I used to race, so I just wanted to scare the
Shit
out of
out of
them,
it.
right? And so we went for it, and we just left everybody, and then it was like, okay, let's just slow down. There's a long straightaway. We'll just slow down, wait for them to catch up. Well, when we got to the end of that straightaway, I still had to tap the brake a little bit, and I had no brakes. So in reality, if we would have gone
Oh
one more
no.
corner, it would have
We'd have been gone.
it would have been
We
in
was
a.
ready to hold hands. We was ready to hold hands and go, yeah, that's it. We're on our way.
But it did get to the point where we were in this other little town, and there's this hairpin that you didn't know it was a hairpin, and you go up, and then it's a hairpin and a sharp right hand turn. So it kind of launches the Mini in the air, and then when you're in the air, you notice you have to turn. Well, there is no turning. So the front tires, when they finally land, they're
Uh,
just chirping across the
Yeah, yeah.
street. And that's the sticky 032Rs, and he's screaming like a little girl.
Nah, no,
And
no.
when we got to lunch, he's like, I'm riding with someone else.
No, no, that was the next day.
Oh
That
no,
was
no,
the
no!
next day.
You got out of the car. He wouldn't get in the Turbo Mini anymore. He said his stomach
See,
couldn't
well,
take it.
good thing it
you
was
couldn't do
before
that.
lunch, right?
Well,
Yeah, if that was after lunch,
yeah, yeah.
oh
If it had been before lunch, you'd have been
yeah,
on
yeah.
the dash.
If that, but I looked in the mirror and every Mini was doing it because
Yeah.
you didn't know,
It
and
was
then you
there.
just see him, boom, and oh, and
Shit. But you couldn't do that in the UK because the roads are that
yeah, the roads
the
here
roads are that
beat up.
crap in
Yeah.
England. You couldn't do that. If you went trying to do that in the
I was
UK,
going
you
to
couldn't.
ask the question. How's the yeah? How are the roads compared? Like, are there kind of canyon roads similar to the Snake in the UK?
No, not really. No, we flattened all out. The Romans built our the Romans built our roads.
Well,
If you read Roman history, the Romans just went from A to B in a straight line. I mean, you can literally go from London to Anglesey in Wales, North Wales, on a road that's dead straight. You can do like
Oh,
300 miles
jeez,
without going,
that's no fun.
like
uh,
like in the US. But that's the problem now. We've got straight roads, and we've built villages on the right and the left, and we've only got little roads going to them. So there's that much traffic in the UK now. It's just impossible to do what Mike
Mm,
did in
but
the Smokies.
right,
yeah,
but the little roads, to kind of answer your question, they're like rally roads. They're one lane, but it's two cars, and it's
yeah,
constantly like this. All the corners are blind, and it's kind of equivalent.
yeah,
Some of them would be equivalent to what we've done, except the roads are extremely rough and you can't see anything. So I
yeah,
love when I'm following another Mini because when they go around the corner, I wait
I
to
know
see
what
if
you're
there's
saying.
sparks or fenders coming up in the air, and if nothing happens, I know I can go for it. And then, I mean, it's fun because
yeah,
these little roads, most of them are 60-mile-an-hour limit. You're not going to reach that. Not on
But
a two lane.
we have
yeah,
the
yeah.
problem where now, if you come to a roundabout it's typical of one by our house. You go around to come onto the island. Obviously, when you're coming on the left-hand side of the road, they put a tree or a fence like 6 foot. So you can't actually see the car that's coming round. If there's a car coming round the island, you have to stop. And if you don't stop, it's you get somebody
Yeah.
put you off the road.
The Mini 50, we rented a motorhome to come down to his event, and you get to a roundabout, and it was at an angle, and we had this big motorhome that was an automatic that I didn't know what a automatic. It was a stick automatic. I didn't know how it worked. So I'd have to have my foot on the gas, my foot on the brake. You could smell the clutch, so obviously it's a dry clutch. And like you said, these roundabouts are blocked, so you can't see. And then, like, if you see it open, you just punch it, and then everybody yells "Stop!" in the motorhome, and you slam, and you hear all the dishes crashing. Good fun. So, but yeah, the roads over here are
Every time
great.
I think of a roundabout, every time I think of a roundabout in like England or Europe, did you guys ever watch a European Vacation with Chevy Chase?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not. Not me.
And they they go to Europe and they go around this roundabout and they get stuck in it because they couldn't
They
he
keep
couldn't
going
figure
round
out how to get out and there was so much traffic. It kept going around and around like all day.
Well, one
Oh
worked good the
man,
other
it's
day
good.
at the Riv Run. I was behind a much bigger car, and there's two classics behind me. So when I got to the roundabout, I just went for it. And screeching around the roundabout, I wiped out probably my left front tire, but got behind the classics and felt at home again. So they work for
Oh,
that
that's
too.
cool. Well, Mike, I heard that you went to a recent Japan Mini Day. Is that true?
Yeah, that's that,
I
Mike.
did, yeah. I went to there, yeah. I
How does
uh,
that compare to something like you're at today? You know, I've always kind of
Well, he was a
I've
celebrity
always
over
been
there.
into British cars and many. Oh yeah, yeah. I've always been into British cars, and then the kind of Japanese car culture is getting big in the United States, and then I realized it's like, oh man, they like Japan has a ton of classic mini culture. They do it a little different and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot about the Japanese Mini Day. So I'm curious of how it kind of compares to, like I said, something that you're at today.
it's totally different to today. Um, the Japanese people are that polite. They're that friendly. They do anything for you. Uh, you're just welcome there as if you was their long lost friend. And the Japanese treat the Mini as like a god. All the cars are all pristine. They're all like up to showroom condition. I mean, I visited a gentleman named
Wow.
Mariyama, who owns 700
Yeah.
cars. He took me. I mean, this was just
Whoa.
a
Yeah, I've
day out
seen
in
him.
my. I mean, it was one of the places where I wanted to visit when I got to Japan, apart from the mini day itself.
Right.
And Mariyama said, "Yeah, you just come over." Went on the train, on the bullet train, 200 mile an hour. Got it just outside Tokyo. Because I knew Mariyama from a long long time ago. We were friends, and
Okay.
hey, come on in, sit down. You go in his workshop. He took me around the workshop. He took me around his shop where all the spares and things was. He took me to his warehouse where all his cars was. I spent maybe 4 hours in just one mini dealer in
Wow.
Tokyo. And he said, "Well, do you want to get and see the other cars?" I went, "Yeah, okay." Of course, he took me in another car. We went out about 20 minutes out in the suburbs, and there's this warehouse with like 700 cars all lined up. And you look at these cars, you think,
Wow.
well, they must have come from the UK. They must have come at some time. And then we got. He speaks very good English, and we got
Yeah.
speaking to him and saying, "Well, where did you get that one from?" Because we're talking like pre-production cars, which was sort of 1957, 58, and then there was
Wow.
launched in 59. He's got four
Yeah.
of the original production cars in his workshop in Japan. And I went,
W-
"Oh, what are them two
Whoa.
there?" And I
How do
went,
you get those?
"They're four-door." And I went, "Well, we never saw a four-door Mini in England until Radford started producing it, probably in
Yeah.
the 70s and 80s. He's got the two pre-production
Right.
four-door cars sitting on the front of his showroom. he's got cars that we've
What?
never seen. He's got them all over the place. I mean, there's places to go in Japan where Dinky is another one. He's another big dealer in there. Same kind of thing, not so big as Mariyama.
Uh-huh.
Dinky, he was another one who, we'll go out tonight. I went, okay, we'll go out. You go out, what do you want to eat? Do you want to eat Japanese or do you want to eat English or do you know? I said, well, whatever you want. So it was like
Yeah.
sushi, which, and he says, do you want a delicacy or do you want a I said, well, when in Japan, and we had puffer fish. Puffer fish is one of the
What?
deadliest
Deadliest
fish
fish.
you can eat.
Right.
And
Can
I
I
went,
have 2 slices?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, let's have a go at that. And you have to train someone like 30 years to learn how to cook the puffer fish. We had it.
Yeah.
We had puffer fish. Then he said, well, we'll go for a drive in Macopares. I'm going, oh, yeah, I've got a couple of Copares. And he went, this is a Speedwell one, which was Graham Hill's. I went, ah. So he's got Graham Hill's Speedwell Copares over there. Went and arrived round. Had arrived round.
Wow.
He said, we'll just visit a friend. I went, yeah. Went to a friend's house. Big house in a big, in the garden. There's a big shed, bigger than my house. And it's just laid out as Sky Electrics. A complete Sky Electrics track in the back garden that's bigger than my house.
Slot cars.
Slot cars, what you call slot cars.
Wow. Oh.
Anything that from the UK, they will buy. It's real. But I mean, you go on about the Japanese. I mean, they was absolutely fantastic. The mini day itself,
Yeah.
it's done on a different lines to the way we do a show. They have static cars. They don't have a concourse. They have an invited 100 cars. And
Mm-hmm.
because I was there, I was the one who got to go and pick the best car out. And it's like, you close your eyes and you just went, I'll have that one. And that's how good the
Yeah.
cars are. Yeah, it,
Yeah.
beautiful place to go.
One of my friends here went Taiki. He's Japanese and he said it was incredible. And their car culture I think is kind of what you described. It's the attention to detail on their builds are incredible, but
Yeah,
yeah, it seems like they do some really unique things. I see a lot of their later models that they do a fantastic Mark One look-alike, or those cool pickups that are coffee shops in the back of the bed. They just do a lot of really cool things, ice cream trucks and stuff. But yeah, that's one of my bucket lists too. Is
yeah. Well,
obviously now
one,
instead of
the,
any meet is IMM and then
yeah.
Japanese Mini Day. Those are two
Well,
big bucket lists.
And the CMU
well, that
event.
that's how we met.
And
Most
CMU.
of the
That's
Japanese,
that's that's easy,
they,
Mike.
the Japanese came to Birmingham in 2009, and they hired a
Okay.
plane. They hired their own plane to come to the IMM. And I went,
Yeah.
you could have. He said, yeah, we want to bring a few cars as well. So of course they all turn up into Birmingham. I'm going. They've just landed at Heathrow and just drove up to England in their own cars. They've got plenty of money.
Yeah.
They're quite rich. But once you meet them, they're friends for life.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
all right.
gone.
We've got
Incredible.
to,
I'm gone. I'm sorry. You're only 5 more weeks.
it's all right. We got to speak good. This is what we get. I,
Oh man.
See, I
So
became
Mike,
someone over here because I know Mike.
something like that, I guess.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
it.
yeah. So,
So we kind of touched on this earlier, but how mini prices are kind of getting higher and higher and higher. But somebody that's been doing it for so long, if someone is listening to this podcast that wants to get into minis, what kind of advice would you give them on kind of how to get into classic minis? Something that would help them in terms of that. Of should they get a project? Should they save their pennies? Get the best that they possibly can afford? What any advice on that?
well, I think the second thing was just buy what you can afford. Um, Projects, you can buy projects that'll they're just a money pit, absolute money pit. You can throw thousands of pounds at a Mini uh, and still not have what you want. So I would say,
Yeah.
for myself, I would buy a project because I know exactly what's going to come up at the end of the day. When you take the wing off or you take the eye
Right.
panel off, I'll just do this a little bit, and then it goes on, and then you had to take this off, you had to cut this out, you had to do the floor. Whereas a lot of people now in the UK, well, I suppose all around the world, there's cars that have been half repaired. They bought them as projects and go, oh, this is a bit
Yeah.
too big for me. They've done a lot of work, so you
Mm.
buy the project with half the work done, and then you finish it off. I mean, I bought a car in
Yep.
Ireland 7 or 8 years ago, and somebody had put wings on it, they'd put eye
Mhm.
panels on, they'd put a load of work into it, and he just went, oh, I'm fed up with that. I'll just sell it on. I sold it. And it's here today.
Yeah.
It's a car I'm using now. But if you go out, I would never buy from a trader. Although I'm a trader myself, there's quite a few disreputable traders. If you know what I mean, they'll sell you a
Yeah.
car, and then it's like we had an experience yesterday in buying the thing in Curry's yesterday with a
Oh, the
they wouldn't
speaker.
they wouldn't let us check it out the shop and open it up. We couldn't bring it back if it were the one we wanted, and that's exactly the same as Mini. If it ain't the one you want, you'll never be satisfied with it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's a tricky market to navigate.
yeah, it comes down to my thought is always spend as much as you can on a good one because, like he said, you don't know how deep you're going to keep going. So save up the money if you
Yeah.
don't have enough to get a really good one. But unfortunately, in the U.S., to get a good one, you're looked years ago, not many years ago, it was 6, 7 grand. Now you're up to 12 to 15 or 16 or 20,
Yeah.
and you're not going to find a 20
Yeah.
year old that that can afford it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we've got all of our minis because we can't afford anymore.
Well, this is
Yeah.
in the UK. It still happens, but you never know what you're buying. You never know if you're
Mhm.
buying
Mhm.
a 1960. Well, somebody who knows a little bit about it will know what a 69, a 61 looks like, or a 59 looks
Right.
like, or a 62, or a 70, and then a 90. You know what they look like. But even so,
Right.
you call them tags.
Yeah.
Well, tags you call them.
Yep.
VIN
Them are the
plates.
number plates. VIN numbers.
Vin.
VIN numbers have changed on minis. Like they just throw them up in the air, and we'll put that one on that one, and we'll put that
Yeah.
one on that
Yeah.
one, and then you get the young lads who
Yeah.
kids who think they know a little bit. They go and buy a mini, and they go, "That ain't that car." You know, what we've got in England
Happens to
is,
the best of us.
yeah, absolutely. But in England, you don't have to pay any tax on a car that's 40 years old. You know, road tax. You
Oh,
don't have an
right.
MOT. You only have to have it insured. So then, everybody that's got a 90 card
Oh.
or an 85 car, they go, oh, I know where there's a logbook for that. So they buy a logbook for a 62 car. They put it on the 90 car. No tax, no, um,
Yeah.
no road tax, no MOT. All I've got to do is insure it. And then somebody a little bit smart comes along and go,
Does it not go through any inspection to get to that point though? Like I would assume that the inspection people would be like, this isn't a 62, but I don't know. Here they might not know. They'd be like, oh, that's just an old car but
I get customers all the time with a fuel injected airbag 1961 Mini. It's amazing. I was like, man, that's worth a
oh
fortune.
yeah, only if you
yeah, it's a
tell them.
one of
It's
a kind.
pre-production by what, 50 years or
Yeah.
40 years.
But
Yeah.
this is what happens. You see, the value of the
Yeah,
car
yeah, yeah.
diminishes. Like you say, somebody who's a little bit knowledgeable goes in. Well, that car ain't worth that kind of money. It's got sliding windows in it, or it's got wind-up windows in. That's the big giveaway. You get a sort of 60. I
Yep.
don't know. They come out 80, something like that when the
70.
wind-ups came. So
70.
if you've got a car that's registered with wind-up windows. Before that, you know very well they've just swapped the tactor.
Yep. But all right. Well, hey Mike, so we have a little segment on this show called the Patty Probe.
I know.
It's a list of
Okay.
list of questions that we it might be controversial or a little difficult. Are you willing to participate?
He'll do anything.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Go for it. You might
All
not like
right,
it.
first question.
Okay.
What is your Yeah, that's what I want. I want provocative. What is your favorite mini variant?
What is my
Favorite variant?
variant? And I would probably say the Moke. The mini Moke. I mean, it's
The
a
Moog.
utility
All right.
vehicle. Gets anywhere, you know. Unfortunately, this weather is great
This is
for
a
a Moke,
perfect day. Yeah.
but when it rains, it's not so great. But Moke, yeah, I like the Moke, the variant of the
Not driving a Moog too often.
Moke.
I
No.
like that answer. I like that. Um, this one might be difficult. How many minis have you owned, and how many do you currently own?
It would be probably 150 plus.
Really?
Wow.
Don't be in 50 years.
50 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Currently own um, one,
Wow.
uh, one,
It's 4 in the garage. I
Two.
saw.
I'll go work for it.
There's four.
Three.
You should see his house. He's got the collection of every
Five.
little gizmo giveaway or whatever from every
Six.
IMM, every event he's been to.
7.
Uh, there's a thing at the IM while he's counting. Here, do you need the calculator?
10.
10. It took you that long to count 10?
10.
I was just thinking where they are. You got this one here. You got my Mark 2S at home. You got another Mark 1S at home.
Okay,
You got
we believe you.
a Mini 25 at home. You got a Mark 1 Cooper at home. You got a Mini 25 at home. You got 1, 2, 3 in the yard. Yeah, 10. Not all drivable, I must admit. Not all drivable, but the 1S is drivable. My own S is drivable. The 25 drivable. The Equinox is drivable. That belonged to my wife, so it's sent to me.
So, side note about his house.
All right.
You go in there, it's like a museum of every mini event everywhere. And there's this thing at IMM that
Oh dear.
that so whoever puts it on doesn't have to do a whole lot of cleanup afterwards because everything's taken. And to come down to where it's kind of a gentleman's sport that don't take anything until a certain point of the IMM because a lot of it's decorative and whatever. But you can be in the main
Right.
party building and all of a sudden, once the one thing is nicked, it's a free for all. So Mike has a nice collection of every IMM proudly everywhere throughout his house. So it's pretty cool to stay there and see all this stuff.
Well, I've got
That is
a
cool.
garage up the side of the house that we extended to the back of the house, and then we built a conservatory on. So you got the
Uh-huh.
side windows of the conservatory, looks into the garage at the cars that I'm.
So I'm still trying to figure out what he nicked from our
That's
CMU
fun.
event.
That's super cool.
You didn't take anything?
There
Wow.
was nothing there to take.
Wow.
Apart from an RV or
An
something like that.
RV. Yeah. Well, we're hoping he
Nothing
comes
cool.
back over
Nothing
again.
cool.
I've upgraded my brakes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I know that corner.
All right. Yeah, but it like you
He's
say,
practiced for you.
although some of the IMM people don't understand what we do, it ain't through stealing, it ain't through robbing someone or robbing somebody. It's just part of a souvenir of the event, if you like. I mean, I
Yeah.
nearly got sent to prison for doing the one down at Kent.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
just a little story.
Do you have
My
time for this?
I've got some friends in
Yeah,
Ireland.
go. That's fine.
I mean, my friends in Ireland, they would do anything or go anywhere or do anything for you.
They're
That's how
great. Yeah.
they're absolutely fantastic. And we're coming out of the IMM in Kent, and we're walking past a little bar that they'd made into like a pub, and they'd put a sign outside the pub, and it was called uh, the Rusty Subframe on a swinging sign. And a chap named Paul Kelly was trying to get this sign, and he's shaking the pole to actually break the pole off or get the sign down. So Paul,
Oh,
a
jeez.
few security came along and went, sort of looked. Paul sat down, and I'll come along after, and I go, "What are you trying to do?" "I want the sign." I went, so I went, down comes the sign, away goes the sign, and the security guard has me like, "Off, you're out." I went,
Oh,
"And he want a
oh no.
souvenir at the end," and he took the sign. I never, but but the thing was then after, Paul didn't know where the sign had gone. It had gone back to the wherever. So I was in Ireland in about a month's time. So I had one made by Sticky Fingers, exact replica of the one that we took down. So the next show we went to in Ireland, I put this flag up, pole, and I put this sign on. And he goes, "Where did you get that from?" I went, "Kent." He went and took it. I said, "Well, I knew where they took it." So I went and took it back. And that's in my garage.
Everything's in his garage.
But that's just part and parcel
That's
of the
awesome.
Mike's come in, watch it.
So,
That's the
so one of the IMMs, I think, Portugal, I think it was, we brought about 50 blow up beach balls with the CMU logo on it and everything because it's a huge party. And so we're back
right.
there blowing up all these balls. And so you wait until the party just gets smashing. And we just started tossing them all over. But it didn't work because when someone sees one, they grab it, they immediately pop the valve, push it all out, and stick it in their pocket. So never again. It was a neat idea, just to beach balls, but it was sucked down. No, another one never flew.
Yeah, yeah.
So
2009, like I said, we had
Ruining the vibe.
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, we
but
had like 78 countries, so we had 78 flags. What we did, we got all the kids, we give them a flag and they paraded it in, and we hung the flags up in the arena,
Right.
where the music was. We had, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, Roy Wood from Wizard, ELO,
ELO.
ELO,
Do you know ELO? Electric Light Orchestra?
no?
No,
No.
I'm pushing this butt. Which
No.
one is he?
Well, Roy Wood and Wizard was a really top artist. He was a really, really good artist in the UK. And he was our main event. So of course the main event's going on. Well, you take your shirt off that's got event organizer or things like that. You put it on the back of the chair. You go on and
Uh-huh.
have a dance with Glenn as it happened at the time. And I went, we better get out now. We've got to
Yeah.
start organising. Getting things. Not one flag was left in that hall, and the two uh, shirts that we took off, somebody had got them dancing on the floor. Like, well. So that's part and parcel. We went, well, we ain't got to get up there and take them down.
Yeah, that's what I said. The cleanup crew is everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
We
Hey,
digress.
that's fun though. That's cool. I like that
boy,
a
how'd
lot.
that come from a Patty question?
Okay.
No,
Other
that's
than
cool.
Patty
That's
had
fun.
gone to all the
Yeah.
IMMs.
Okay.
I don't know.
You
I don't
never
even
know.
remember what question I even asked last.
How many minis do you
How
have?
that's
many
that's
minis was
that's
it?
the
Yeah,
fun
that's
part
It
right.
about the
took him
Patty
3
Probe.
minutes to count to 10. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Did you
it's the
notice that this
rabbit hole
son,
mini.
the
Yeah.
guy from Florida, gets sunburned from coming to England? It's amazing. So go ahead, Patty question.
Strong sun over there. Strong sun over there.
Okay.
We'll end it with this one. What is the most pain in the ass job on the mini?
Wow. Wow. I would probably say clutch.
Clutch.
Oh,
Well,
I'd have to say clutch, I
how
think.
about floors?
Well, oh yeah, welding. Yeah, yeah, but
You
that's
talking mechanical or
yeah,
body?
yeah.
Any
Well,
anything, whatever. Yeah.
mechanical part is a clutch, because then that tied down the because we never take the engines out to do. I mean, a lot of people say, well, you got to take the engine out to do the clutch. Okay,
Yeah.
nah, you just jack it up and put it up on one side, and you can do it. But with the
Yeah.
new Verto clutches, the taper that they put on is that
Uh
tight,
huh.
a fit, that they actually weld onto the crank. So you had to use a big puller and a big like 2 foot bar, to prise it on.
Right.
And sometimes it's down to a grind, what they call them, a grinding wheel to cut the actual clutch off.
Oh.
So that becomes a pain. But like you say,
Yeah.
welding is always a pain, really.
Yeah.
Rust.
You
Yeah.
cut
Yeah.
you cut the floor out, and then you have to cut a little bit more out, and then you end up being like from a 4 inch hole, you end up with a 6 foot hole.
Like I always
You
say,
end
when
up
you
just.
sandblast a mini shell, you find one of two colors: silver or clear.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. That's for sure. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you being on here. I'm very happy that I set my alarm for 4:45 this morning to get up for this.
We're
It was a
45.
pleasure. It was a beautiful
Wow.
day. I
What, do you
know.
want
Listen,
to see a
hey,
quick scan of the area? Want me to take
yeah,
that
let's show the
spin it
people.
around?
This is. I was just gonna say it was a beautiful day. Show the
Oh,
people.
some
There's a
wiring
lot. How
might
many?
have done, but we'll see.
All
Okay, here we
right. How
go.
many minis are there today?
well,
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know if you're talking in caps or upper or lower. Okay, you'll have to guide me. Can you see? Oh, yeah, hold up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it?
Oh. Oh. Oh.
So there's the trader area. Tell me if I gotta go higher or lower.
No, you're perfect. Stay right. Stay on that plane.
Okay.
For those that are watching, he's doing a scan here.
See the beautiful lake.
Seeing all.
I mean, this park is amazing. Okay, wait a minute. I got to go back the other way real quick. And there, can you see Himley Hall very well now? See all the different cars?
Your screen went blank, but I'm not sure if it's still recording. I can still
Oh,
hear you. So
I
for the
still on
people, hopefully we'll see. I don't know when the recording actually is saved. We'll see if it actually shown all of this. But
okay. Well, there you go. And guess where we're going now?
there.
You still
clean
there?
up? No, I'm still here.
No. We're Mike's the one that introduced me to Smoking John Rhodes. So we're gonna go see him
Oh, nice.
after today. After
Oh,
this event, we're
cool.
gonna go visit him again.
Hey, let him know about the podcast. We'll get him on here.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
known John
We know
just in
people.
passing.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I've known him like 30 years, 40 years. He's always
That's
been a good friend
awesome.
of mine. Yeah,
That's
he's a gentleman actually.
Very
Childhood
much.
yeah,
gentleman.
Yeah. But if he does it, he'd be doing it for me, not for you.
You
yeah.
reckon?
All right.
I've got the bottle of wine. I got the bottle
All
Okay.
right,
of wine.
boys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mike. Very nice meeting you. Great conversation. I look forward to more in the future at an IMM, at a CMU, at wherever we meet. Okay.
Sure.
If you come to the UK, you're quite welcome to stay with me. No problem.
I will take you
There's
up
free
on that.
stuff on the walls. Just nick what you want.
Just it's the same thing. I'll clean up your house by taking all the memorabilia.
On the way out.
Yeah.
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 He wouldn't know what's missing. I'll tell you
He
that.
would.
No, you wouldn't. I've taken stuff twice
All
now.
right. Okay.
You don't know.
All
So it was
right,
good chatting
guys.
with you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having us.
Thank you. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.